Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And thought I would do a quick little review, not really much of a technical on the component wise review, but just a ride review, I guess you could say, on the 2019 Vitus Escarpe 27.5 inch wheel. Hopefully you guys can hear me alright. I'm not sure how the audio is going to do on my DSLR. I don't have the external mic hooked up to it or anything, so if it turns out really crappy in the audio feed, then I'll just go back and maybe do some voiceover to part of it. But yeah, so I've had this bike for about a month now, and I'm a little tired right now, so I'm a little bit winded. You can see that they've been out here. I'm up in Salisbury, North Carolina, and they've been working on this new track up here, this new jump line. So it's actually pretty gnarly. I don't know if you can really tell from like the video. I'm sure it doesn't really do justice, but they've got a couple new jumps that they've been setting in. All right guys, so I'm just gonna hold the camera so that hopefully the audio is a little bit better. But also I have some yellow jackets flying around me right now. But yeah, so this is my Vitus 2019 Escarpe, 27.5 inch wheels. Like I said earlier, I'll probably just leave like all the component descriptions or down in the description or whatever, so if you guys are interested in like looking at the actual technical specs of the bike, then I'll just leave them down there listed. But right now I'm not really going to go over it. I'm just kind of going to do a little review on like what I like about this bike, and then maybe a couple things I don't like about this bike. So to start off with, a couple of things that I do like about this bike. This is like, I guess, more geared towards maybe like a trail bike, enduro type bike. So this is the first time I've owned a bike where, for one, it has rear suspension. This is my first full suspension bike, and then also the shorter stem. So that was a little bit different for me, and also along with that, the slacker head angle was a big change for me too. So coming from like a cross country bike, back when I used to ride like quite a few years ago. So another thing I did like about this bike is the wheels that it came with. So these are pretty fat tires. They're not considered you know, fatties or whatever, but they're not oversized or anything, but they are a lot bigger than what I'm used to. So these are 2.6 inch wide tires, I believe, the Maxxis, and I mean, they are super grippy, and it's pretty fun. Like, you can definitely tell a difference whenever you're like riding trails and maybe you're hitting a berm or something. The tires really just kind of hold on a lot easier. Back on the other bikes I used to ride, I remember just being loose, you know what I'm saying? Like loose all over the trail. Anytime you had to hit the brakes or go down a hill and like trying to slow down, you're pretty much just all over the place. But these tires have been like really well, so that's another pro of this bike that I do like. Another thing is this bike did come with the dropper post already, so that is a plus. I did have a little issues with it at first, getting it to sit all the way down. You can see right here, I do have it finally resting all the way in the seat tube, but there for a little while, I actually couldn't extend or push it all the way down. There's a B right there. These things have been everywhere. But yeah, I couldn't get the dropper post all the way down in the seat tube. I don't know why it's not focusing right there, but yeah, I had issues with that for a little while actually, and all the pictures I saw online of this bike, nobody actually had the dropper post pushed all the way down, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But after a few rides, I don't know if the cable just loosened up or what it was. I'm pretty sure that it was getting hung down here in the bottom of the seat tube, and that was causing it to like crinkle up and just putting too much pressure or something like that on the cable. So whenever I had it all the way down into the I had it dropped all the way down, it just wouldn't release whenever I would try to raise the seat. But anyways, that's worked out now. So I think probably the main thing I really enjoy about this bike is just how capable it is on the downhills, and how much confidence it's inspired in me since I've got this bike. I've honestly hit things on this bike that I haven't rode a bike in probably, like, I'm not gonna lie, 7 or 8 years. This is the first time being back on a bike, and I have hit things in the first week on this bike that I never touched on my previous bikes. I don't know if that had something to do with just like the full suspension bringing in the confidence, or the bigger tires, whatever it was, the slacker head angle, but the bike is very confidence inspiring. So I think that's been the most enjoyable part that I've enjoyed about this bike. But there are a couple things that I don't like, And really, I wouldn't even say that this is like a flaw with the bike, more of just a personal preference. So I really wouldn't knock off any points or anything like that for these flaws. That it's just, like I said, it's just a personal preference thing. The bars, I think they're a 25 mil rise, which is probably pretty standard in like enduro racing, downhill and stuff. But I'm a taller guy. This is an extra large frame. I'm about 6'3" almost. I'm about 6'2", but a pretty tall guy. And I don't know, just the stem being so close to me and everything, and then having the 25 millimeter rise bars, I think that maybe a 35 millimeter, maybe a 38 or something larger would probably just fit me a little bit better, just because I like to kind of sit up a little bit higher on the bike. And when I'm riding this bike, I really kind of feel like I'm hunched over and like I have a little bit of weight up forward. And I don't like that feeling like I'm about to go over the bars. But like I said, I don't think that's really like a con with the bike. I think that's more of like a personal preference thing. The other thing is, you can probably still see that I'm rocking the plastic pedals. I do have some pedals on the way. They just haven't got here yet. So it took me a while to order them. I don't know why. I just put the pedals on. I've just been out riding and having fun. So, but I do have some new ones on. I've already busted these on the right side over here. But yeah, that's not really common with the bike either. Most mountain bikes don't even come with pedals, and if they do, they generally always come with these cheap plastic ones. So just keep that in mind if you do maybe decide to get this bike. If they still even have it in stock, I ordered it off Chain Reaction. I'm pretty sure they're making room for the 2020 bikes now. I guess one more thing that people might not like is on the rear shock. There is not a lockout for the rear shock. The front shock does have a lockout. You can see it right here. So you can lock out the front shock, but the rear shock does not have a lockout. So that might bother some people. For me, I mean, I guess it doesn't really bother me. I never even lock out the front shock whenever I'm climbing or anything. So, but I do know a lot of people do like to have that option. And you guys can probably hear a bunch of gunshots going off right now because I'm at a pretty big park. So there's like all kinds of things to do around here. And it actually is kind of intimidating, I guess, knowing that people are just firing off rounds around me. But hopefully it's in a safe direction, and it's pretty hilly out here. So I'm sure they have safety measures already put in place or whatnot. They do have like a step up, I guess, in the Vitus Escarpe. That one probably comes with a lockout, but again, I can't really write it off as a con because for this bike, I ended up getting it for about 1,700 USD. So, I mean, you got to think about what you're getting for with the money that you're spending. So a lot of people like to list out these cons and pros of bikes, but I mean, you can list off cons of any bike until you get all the way to the top tier level, right? So when you're writing off cons, you kind of, I mean, it's really just nitpicking, right? So I don't really see any cons versus value for money in this bike. It's been just awesome since I've had it. I can't speak for, you know, the long-term view on it yet, but this video has probably been pretty boring. I've just been sitting here staring just like this at this bike. But anyway, we'll walk around a little bit. All right, so my battery died and I ended up having to switch that out. So I'm not even really sure where I left off at, but talking back on the things that I do like about this bike, as you can see, the color is like blue in the bottom part. It almost looks like it's black, but it's kind of shady out right now. It's getting a little bit later, but when the sun's like really out and popping, like this bike, I mean, it is awesome. Like it's a bright color blue in this bottom tube. I'm not even sure if I can get it on the camera or not, but it's like just a darker blue, and there's some metal flake in there too also, but it looks really cool. And the shadier and darker it kind of gets out here, the top blue part or whatever, just starts to look like it's almost like a purple color. So I mean, that's kind of cool. But overall, this bike just looks amazing. It really does. I know this video has been kind of static and we really haven't walked around it too much, but check out them tires. But it is a pretty nice looking bike. But we probably will, you know, do a ride review or something like that sometime soon. And maybe we'll even hit this park. They have this jump closed off right now, and a couple other ones too. But this trail line is actually pretty sick too. You can check it back here too. I can't really show you the whole trail right now, but I mean, it goes a pretty good ways up there. Nice big little tabletop right here. Nice little cinder right there. And it goes a pretty good ways down the trail. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry that wasn't like super technical or anything. I just kind of wanted to get a video out on this bike so far. Maybe we'll do like more in-depth review on the technical aspects later, but for now I'll just probably drop them down in the description. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. See ya.